to I Love This Thing So Fricking Much, a podcast about passion. My name is Sophie Katz, and today I am joined by Sammy, a musician and authorpreneur. Welcome to the show, Sammy.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So here's how this works. Sammy will have 3 minutes to talk about something that he loves. This can be a person, place, thing, concept, activity, anything he wants. Our only requirement is that he loves it wholeheartedly and wants to tell us why. Are you ready, Sammy?
I'm ready to go.
Good. Got my timer. Now, What do you love so freaking much?
Woo! What I love is creativity. And I know that's a very broad topic and we can go multiple ways with it. But for me, it's a gift. Creativity for me means a gift. It's very empowering. Even today, I came across this meme and I thought it was so fitting being that we were going to chat today, and it had to do with creativity. And it says, at my brokest, I created. At my lowest, I created. In the pandemic, I created. Without an audience, I created. Without views, I created. Without an LLC, I created. Without a logo, I created. Without equipment, I created. Without connections, you know what I'm going to say next, I created. So what's the theme here? You want it? You have to create. And when I came across that meme, I was like, that's so fitting. It's so empowering that that's the gift of being able to create something. And for me, it's creating something from scratch. And I have a very strong connection to that line of thinking, creating spaces and moments, not just things that are tangible, which I'll talk about in a second, but creating moments that of happiness, creating memories, creating space for healing. Like all of that for me counts. I'm a drummer, a professional musician in Central Florida. And for me, when I play drums, like my goal is to create a moment where someone can dance, especially if I'm playing congas or Latin percussion. Like I want people to feel the groove. So that's creativity for me, is just that's the foundation for me. John Maxwell, he wrote a book called How Successful People Think. And there's a quote that I resonate with, which is, creativity is intelligence having fun. That for me speaks a lot. And it's definitely a conversation piece, because many of us who are creatives or like to create things, we get an idea, right? And what the question is, what do we do with that idea? And I think that's why the meme I shared hits me so strongly, because I just love to dream. I love to brainstorm. I love being a part of the creative process. There's a strong sense of fulfillment. So it's like you have an idea and then just go with it, have fun with it, see where it takes you. What does it become? It might become better than what you originally thought. And so I just love the idea of just daydreaming and saying, you know what an opportunity I have, or we have, to create something, to do something, especially something that maybe hasn't been done before, or no one's ever heard before or seen before. And when I get on the drums, I push myself. I say, okay, what can I do today that was different yesterday? How can I push my own limitations and be creative and explore and do something new? So for me, creativity is a gift. It fills me, it fulfills me, it gives me purpose, and it's extremely empowering. And my hopes is that others gather that as well.
Excellent. Thank you for telling us about creativity today.
How did I do, Sophie?
I'm having fun listening.
Thank you.
Something that there's a lot of the things you said just struck me as very interesting. One of the things you mentioned is that when you think about creativity, you also think about creating moments versus creating tangible things. Can you talk a little bit about maybe what the difference is for you as a creative person between making something tangible versus a moment?
Sure. I mean, I guess in that respects, as an artist, the way I think of it, as an artist, as a musician, I get to create something, right? A groove in that respects, right? But then, like, I think the flip side is just as important, if not more important for me, probably more of that philosophical side. What did it do? What did what I create? Did it have a reciprocal type of effect? Did someone capture it? And the thing is, for those of us that have ideas, whether we write, whether we do music, whether we paint, we get an idea and guess what? It might not work, but we try it out anyway to see how it resonates with people. And the thing is, when we find something that works and we see that it resonates with someone, I don't know about you. I know you're a creative too, Sophie, and you're very good at your writing and your storytelling. It's like when you see someone react in a positive way, I think it does something to us, right? Like to me, like I'm like, wow, I get so much joy out of it, you know? So creating those spaces that not only am I able to do what I love, but someone else gets to enjoy it too. And there's like a moment that's created between the creator and the person that's receiving what you created. That's a special moment. You know, that would be for me, you know, if I create something tangible, that which is intangible. I don't know if intangible is a word, forgive me, but not tangible, you know, that you can't really put that into a metrics for me. It's special. It's emotional. It's something you take with you. And that's what it really means to me. You know, I don't know if that made any sense, but at least that's how I'm trying to convey it.
No, it does. I really like this focus on the effect on what you're creating, maybe even more than the thing itself. I know that when people talk about art, so, you know, what is art? Art is a painting, or is art the experience that the person has while looking at the painting? That's what that made me think of.
Yeah, yeah. You know, that's a good point. You know, that's a whole different conversation, right? We can get into like subjective and objective, right? But that what's the takeaway? You know, that's important for me. You know, what did it do? Did it help change someone? Like, I'm going to give an example that's a pandemic related. The industry we're a part of, right? The entertainment industry opened last year in the summer for us. We weren't prepared for the reaction we were going to get when we started playing drums after for so long. We had, number one, we hadn't done it. But number two, at that time, it was like all mask, right? Like mask, everyone's mask. We haven't seen faces. We haven't seen each other.
Yeah.
And what we were doing was we were spaced out with a safe amount of space that we could take our mask off so we could perform. And what we noticed immediately is just by people just put the groove to the side for a minute, what they were hearing, they saw a smile. And we started noticing just people react just to our joy, you know, just the effects of a smile, right? And how powerful that was. Those are those things that you can't really put in a box, right? In a jar or anything. It's those special moments. Now layer that with a good groove, and now you got people that are smiling, happy to see a face, and dancing.
Absolutely.
You know, in the middle of a pandemic, I mean, that just, there's no value, right? It's, what's the word I'm looking for? You can't put a price tag on that. You know, that family or that person is going to walk away. What we hope is just feeling really good.
You mentioned before an interest in creating moments that let people heal, and that definitely sounds like what you were doing there, especially after this past year.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. For me, a smile is the biggest. I want to use the word empathy. You know, I want to use the word healing. It speaks volumes, you know, go straight to the heart, you know, and for me, that's important as a creative, right? As an artist, as a musician, that's creative. I mean, that's important, excuse me, that whatever is being performed or shared, that it does something to them, right? That they leave a little bit different than when before they heard or saw us, right? And if it is a healing moment, then, then it's worth it right there.
Absolutely. You mentioned before that there's a drive to create something that's never been done before. Do you have any examples of a time you created something that you knew had never been done before?
Yeah. Well, allow me to kind of harp on one of the titles that you used to introduce me. So I'm a musician and entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is a brand new thing for me. Okay. So I currently have a book that is the editor is working on. I'm waiting to get it back. So I wrote a book, which is a big deal for me. And now books are not new. Clearly, duh. That's not a new concept. But what I did was the story that I feel like I was able to bring, and not to make this a theological conversation, but I just want to use an example. There's a man in the Bible who is a slave who doesn't speak. He has no quote unquote lines in the story. And what I did was kind of take that character who has a name but doesn't have a voice, and I gave him a voice. Using that as an example, right? Being creative with stories that maybe were told over centuries, and stories that were told in places of worship, in circles of conversation, and then finding new and creative ways to share those stories. In this case, a person who has no voice, hopefully people will appreciate hearing him speak and hearing perhaps maybe what he might have felt in that story. So it's half of the book is a first person narrative, and hopefully people will appreciate that. So that's special for me, and I hope people will enjoy that, especially since there's not really anywhere else where you can hear him say a word, you know? So that to me is an example of that.
And that's definitely exciting. And congratulations on finishing a book.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a life goal of mine that I didn't want to wait till I was at the end of my life to do.
Oh, definitely not. Is there anything that you don't like about creativity? And if so, how do you handle that?
Creatives, we hit like a stale time, don't we? Sometimes where we don't feel creative. We hit a wall. We feel, I think I just used the word stale. Anyway, the list goes on and on with different words that describe that. Sometimes we just feel unproductive or not doing anything. That's the part about creativity that's painful, because it's like, I don't have an idea, or I don't have inspiration. I haven't found this inspiration. And for some people that are doing this for a living, we might not have a choice with a deadline, right? That we got to make, and we might not feel inspired, but the person that's expecting the job, well, you better get it done. So I think for me, that's the part that can be really challenging, is when you don't have that drive or that motivation at the moment. What has helped me, and this is still a learning moment for me, it's by no means have I figured it out, but there is a producer, a Hollywood producer. He's got a media company. His name is Phil Cook. He's out in LA, and I've been following him for years. And on a blog post he wrote a few years ago, he was talking about creativity, and he was talking about boredom. And I have a quote in front of me, and I'm just going to read it off of his blog post. It says, "If you feel like you're losing your creative edge, then I could recommend you rediscover the power of boredom. Stop automatically reaching for the mobile device and let your mind wander. Look around and start noticing things again." And that I carry that with me as a reminder, right? When I get into that rut, or when I get stuck, that maybe I just need to get bored. And that might be a process for me. Like if I have a lot in my mind, or I have like a to-do list that's driving me crazy, then I need to work on that so I can get to a place of boredom. But what I'm starting to do a lot better, because I'm a city kid, right? So I'm starting to appreciate nature more, going outside more, walks more, things like that I don't have to. And when I say go for a walk, I mean, like I'm walking around, looking around, not with my phone, with my face on my phone walking. Like I'm trying to do better with appreciating what's around me, not only looking down, but looking up, looking to my right, looking to my left. And in those moments, I find rejuvenation, and you get ideas. And so the outdoors has been helping me. Putting my phone on do not disturb a lot more often has been helping me. Some even chats, do not disturb, has been helping me. Trying to be silent more has been helping me. And I know this sounds funny, and this is not an original idea, but I resonate with this idea. Is the shower for me is like one of those moments where I can just like let my brain kind of go. Just like,
it really is.
Right? Really it's true, right? It's something, I don't know if it's the water or the sound of the water. I don't know, but it's like in the shower, like your brain starts going, either you get ideas or you're just thinking about stuff. And sometimes I just zone out, and I just let my mind kind of go and relax. So those are the things that I'm still learning how to do, but I keep it in my mind to remind me, say, hey, Sammy, when you get stuck or when you're in this rut, there's some work you have to do. Let's try to get to a place of boredom.
Sammy, thank you so much for telling us about something you love today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
And thank you, our listeners, for tuning in today. If you would like to learn more about creativity or our guest, Sammy, you can find his social media information in the episode description. And don't forget to use the hashtag #LoveThisThingCast to tell us about the things you love. I Love This Thing So Fricking Much is a production of Through the Window Media. This episode was directed and edited by Sophie A. Katz. You can find us at Through the Window on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or Tumblr. That is THROU The Window at all those social media sites. Be good to yourself, be kind to each other, and you'll hear from us again soon.